Alright, everybody. Hello, welcome in to Undercover with Jim. So, first, let's give a few seconds, a moment of silence for the loss of Matt Brown.
We have to get there before they do. Increase speed.
We got you, Matt. Don't wait for me.
So yeah, it's a sad moment for the loss of, unfortunately, Matt Brown. A lot of the story doesn't make sense or add up to me, so I'm still digging into that, so don't take it. But I'm going to give my opinion. Witnesses said that they witnessed him sitting in the shallow part of the river, and it just really don't sit to me that they, I guess, basically saying they weren't really focused on him. And then the story kind of seems weird when they say they heard a sound, turned around, and he was floating downriver. So, in reality, it don't sit well with me with that, because if he really used something like a pew-pew, it's very distinctive. Very distinctive. Also, he was panhandling for food, water, and that, so he didn't have money. That's another thing. So where would he get one from? It's almost like the unsettling feeling that I get from Chester Bennington. It just don't add up to me with him either, because I know he had Chester had a lot of demons in his head. He always said it wasn't safe to, in his animal. But out of respect for him, he wasn't even at a low point to where he would do something like that. So that's why it don't add up to me with that either. And the exact same way that his friend, it just, like, to a T, how is that possible? Because Chester didn't have access to those photos. Neither would family. That would just be something for the police and detectives and that. So it just doesn't add up fully to me. It don't make sense. And the only reason I bring this up is, listen, if you're ever feeling at a low point in your life, and you feel depression is taking over, please don't do that. There's a lot of your family in that care about you, love you, and it's going to affect them. I know in that moment you're not thinking clearly, but at the same time, maybe that's what you need to do, is what you need to bring into your mind. Because people do love you. It might not seem like it, because whatever in your head is telling you at that moment because of what you're going through, but don't do it. I have those issues too. I'm on the same way with Chester. Like, it's not safe in here. So that's why I try to make my life, fun, varied, and I do this. Because I have a lot of knowledge what's going on in the government. I pay attention, and my mind works different than most. My mind works in hyperdrive, where I can focus on certain things that just right away click and say, this don't make sense. And usually it's right. Like, it's usually 90% will say right. But Matt Brown always had said that he would never do something like that. So usually when a person says something like that repeatedly, it's usually true. I mean, it's just it don't make sense for him to automatically change up and do something like that. So, but I'm really gonna focus in on this. Like, the investigation is still going on. They haven't yet ruled it fully and officially. So waiting on the coroner's report on what they say. Also, where the pew pew landed don't add up. Usually it all depends where, so we don't know yet exactly where. That he supposedly used it. But even then, it wouldn't have gone as far as what they're basically saying. And for him to be face down doesn't really make too much sense. Especially if he was sitting. If he was sitting, it would have been more of, on his back. And because of the jolt, would have, So, the way it is, it's just not ending it. But I wanted to bring it to everybody's attention because now we're looking at Kurt Cobain and his, now it's being ruled otherwise, which we all knew that was, I don't even know why they never really investigated that fully. Truthfully, I think back then those people were paid off to not look into it. That's like with Michael Jackson. They were saying, this and that, and then it was ruled Hami. And there's a lot of others. Look at Elvis Presley. If you really believe Elvis Presley died and they try to make up this story that he was on the toilet and then passed away, and he had a build up from burgers and that, no. So that just don't sit with me either, which I knew because there was twins. I don't know if too many people knew about it, that Elvis had a twin brother. And, that right there would put in a situation in that. Now, his twin brother did have health issues, mentally. So, in my point of view, you gotta really pay, especially when it comes to celebrities, singers, all them, and rappers. Yeah, it just don't add up. Okay, it really don't. Especially Matt Brown's been dealing with this for a long time. He's been homeless for a long time, but yet he was, doing what he could do to survive. And that's the things that was their whole ability, and that. So a lot of it don't make sense. It don't. So I implore everybody to really dig deep. And Paul Walker, he's another one. And the reason I say about Paul Walker, yeah, he lived dangerously, but how many people own that car and have done crazy things in that same exact year model and haven't gone through that? It's just insane. So I would implore everybody to look into this. Another one that really breaks me is Ryan Dunn. There really hasn't been a full investigation on that, and here you have other tire marks that weren't there before alongside that match beside Ryan Dunn's vehicle. So but they really haven't done an investigation, which is suspicious to me. And you gotta understand. Look at Bam. Bam has severe mental problems, and he's still here. He's still fighting. He's still doing it. Getting. But his was just like Chester's and mine. It just was. But he numbed it with alcohol and other things, but he's still here. So I really implore you to take a look at some of these things, because there's always cover-ups. There's always something that is there that just don't make sense, and even if it's the tiniest thing, you really gotta look into it and question. Just don't jump into agreeing with what they say, because I'm gonna tell you something. The government, the police, and a good bit of the military, and so on, they're not just for us, and they'll lie to us like they always have. As for this full disclosure that's going on, it's just kind of funny how this movie's coming out. Full disclosure, that's coming out, and now the Pentagon is releasing all these documents and that, videos, files, and all that. Now I'm gonna tell you something. They're gonna overload, and so you can try to miss a good bit of it. So I'd really pay attention to it, and I'm gonna tell you this. Extraterrestrials does not mean from out of this world. Now, you gotta look at it for centuries and centuries and centuries. These beings have been here because it's proven through history, from the Egyptians, the Mayans, India, I can go on, even Native Americans. It just baffles me how people are thinking and just not really paying attention. This is the Earth is, let me put it this way, the Earth, you're being told, is so big, and now you're going from flat Earth to round Earth to flat Earth again. When has the government ever told you the truth about anything? Unless they're caught in so much is getting out that they have to eventually say yes. But we did it for this reason. They always find an excuse to say, oh, well, we did it. We kept it from the people because of this. It's always something. But the government does not have your best interest. So, there was an extraterrestrial that spoke with somebody, and he straight out said that they kept their deal with everything, the government, except for that. So they were supposed to come out and tell people about it, but the government didn't do that. So that is why you see all these. But here's the thing, they're not what they're saying though. Yes, you might have some that are 3 feet, you might have some that are 4 feet, 5 feet, and then you might have some that are 8, 9 feet, okay? But as far as what they're trying to pursue, so what you're actually seeing is basically a sophisticated droid, what you're seeing with what they call the Greys, and some of the others that are in some type of like suit even, but they're all people like us. But I do believe the Greys are fallen angels. I do believe that, and the Nordics. The Nordics are so beautiful. Like, you gotta understand. So back then, when you saw an angel, we're talking about way back then, when angels did come down, and that they would be so beautiful. And when you have people that come back, in these hospitals that are witnessing miracles of meeting Jesus and then coming back and then able to explain it. They explain everything right there. They're so beautiful. It's so, loving and caring. So your falling angels are still going to have that ability. We're being portrayed as if they're hideous and da-da-da. But they're not. They're people just like us. Bigger, maybe taller than that. Because look at proven fact. They were trying to say that people were shorter back then, but yet proven fact. Look at Noah. Noah's finger in that, and his wife. Lot. Look how Lot. This pillar of salt. That's Lot's. Wife. And she's tall. All right. So back then, you start thinking, like, how is it possible then for these So let me explain that to you. So back in the day, there used to be these huge trees. What you're seeing now is rock formations, and believe that they're mountains that are just odd looking. They're actually fossilized tree trunks that were cut down from the Nephilim. And that was part of the government as well, because, couldn't have that tall people anymore. So it all depends on, it's oxygen that's being released. Now, we have less oxygen. And it's funny how they keep cutting these trees down and keep doing this and that. Why? For what? I mean, you really don't need that for all what they're saying they need it for. Because most of your homes now are made out of bricks and that fake siding inside and all that, So, why? Well, if you continue to let a tree grow, it'll eventually keep growing in that. I mean, look at the Amazon rainforest. Those trees are absolutely tall. There's other places around the world that these trees are extremely tall. So that's why they got to go in and they got to, take some of them down. It's a fact. Because if it releases more oxygen, that's gonna stimulate a whole different situation. Especially for newborn children and that. But you got to understand, like, back then people were much bigger than what they're saying. Like I said, the government has always lied. They're going to continue to lie until they get caught, and then they got to come out with some kind of truth. But here's our main concern, is we need the number one concern. The Vatican. They're their own government. They're their own, entity that are evil. So don't ever believe that they're good and out to do this and that. Because they're basically like the president. The Pope is basically the president. All that. The Vatican has a vault inside there that is filled with history, including the official real Bible, including possibly the Ark of the Covenant, including this, including that. We're talking about Alexander's Dead Sea Scrolls, the Dead Sea Scrolls, or basically a copy being in how the real one is at the Vatican. And even so, if they would put something out real, they're not going to put something out that people have the knowledge to be able to read. Because let me explain, the Egyptians have helicopters, tanks, airplanes, so on and so forth. The Mayans show technology in their stuff. India, technology. And all over else. They showed, even the Native Americans showed. Well, look at China. Okay. And then they show a lot of things and they're trying to say, oh, that's just their interpretation of it. Well, no. Like I said, the world is 10 times bigger than what we're being told. There's islands, lands, countries, we're talking about something that's just insane. And yet I can't go into full detail because I don't need my situation to turn for the worse. Eventually it's going to come out. Eventually that part is going to come out. And then I can go into more detail. But your UFOs and UAPs and these bogospheres are all technology that go back to Antarctica, Atlantis. So the only place, so if they were really looking for Atlantis, and they're trying to say in Africa, there's this area that's just, out there, and they believe, they're trying to say that possibly could be Atlantis. Now, Atlantis is in Antarctica. And the reason I 100% say that is because every country has signed a document that only allows them. None of us are allowed there. And unless you pay a good bit of money, but they're only going to let you in so far. And that's it, called quits. And tell you nothing lives out. Well, if nothing's living out there, why are you so into looking at, why do you have so many scientists and all this and that going out there? Why do you have military out there? Why do you have it guarded by the U.S. Coast Guard? See, people, you gotta really dig deep on this and think. We're too relaxed. Wake up. You're not gonna have, if there's nothing out there, you're not gonna have that much out there protecting something that's nothing there, apparently. But obviously something is there, because the first person that went there was Hitler himself. And Hitler was based out there and was out there for years before he came back. And that's truthfully why America got involved, because it was put out there and found out from a spy that he had technology. He got it from somewhere in Antarctica, and now they're worried. Okay? Because before they didn't care that he was doing all this stuff, but then all of a sudden they found out he went to Antarctica, found out he got some technology, found out they're working on some stuff to, build this from the technology they learned from. Now we got to go in and find out what he found out. Who knows? Maybe one of his people spoke up and said what it was. I mean, money talks. Money talks to anybody. So, and Hitler was pretty greedy, even for his generals, and his right hand. So, and it's a proven fact that Hitler was still alive, and he lived his life, maybe on the run, but because they had a warrant for his arrest. And look at Lincoln, right? His guy, they still had a warrant out for it, but they supposedly said they got him. So why would you continue? J.B. Cooper, they still can't figure it out. That or their own people did it. Which you gotta figure that is true. But we're getting off topic here. I'm sorry. I'm trying to make a sense here that and making it sense for you, because the government has done nothing for us except change the way that it was. The government was supposed to be for us and working for us. Now it's the other way around, and they're lying to us at the same time. You understand me? They got you brainwashed thinking you work for them. When the government was instilled, it was for the people. It says in your Constitution, we the people. So if it's supposed to be we the people, we're supposed to be the ones that run everything and say, hey, this is what we need, this is what we want. Okay? And think about it. I've talked about this in a video before that, we're going to get off topic here. I'm sorry I have to, but I'm trying to help you people see and open up. That the government taxes your check that you work for. You work so hard for. Okay. If they're going to tax your check, then why are they taxing you for everything else? They tax for your mortgage or rent. They tax your bills. They tax everything you buy. They tax property tax, school tax, so on and so forth, okay? Back in the day, when you bought the land to build your home on in the Western days, you owned it. Back in the day, when medieval times, when you picked out your land, you owned it. Same with the Danes, and the Vikings and all that. They picked somewhere, they owned it. That was theirs. But nowadays, you got to continuously pay for the property that you bought. Say you paid your mortgage off, you're still paying taxes on it in some shape or form, but yet you own it. Say you don't have a child, or your child grows up. Why do you got to keep paying on school taxes if you don't have a child that's no longer in school, or you didn't have a child? Don't make sense. Don't make sense. Don't add up. Property tax. You bought the property. Say the mortgage is paid off. You bought the property, right? Why do you got to keep paying property tax? That's something you own. Okay. So here's how they get you. They're just making money. That's all it is. They're greedy. You know, they're greedy. They're part of the elite. They're here to keep you from succeeding in life. Everybody. Look at Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is a joke. Okay? They haven't raised the minimum wage. It's still $7.25, $7.50 an hour. Okay? And it's a freaking joke. Okay? It is. Alright? Every other state is up to par but Pennsylvania, and then they want to act like they're California. Look at gas prices. We're sky high while everybody else. Now, the normal places like California, New York, your prices are going to be high because of the area you live in is very successful, job aplenty, you know, and huge tourism and that. So you got to think about it, and it's very rich areas. Okay. But you're making more money. That's the thing. You're making way more money an hour or salary or whatever. You're making more, while little Pennsylvania just wants to, you know what I mean? And it's ridiculous. And you're all slaves. Every single one of us is a slave still. You want to talk about ancestries? What are you talking about, ancestries? We're still living in this slavery. Okay? They're taxing your check, and then on top of it, taxing you for everything else. Okay? And then you truly don't own nothing, even when you paid it off, right? The government can, when you get, you know, get old and, you know, they come swooping in and, oh, we need that. It's supposed to go to my relatives, or it's supposed to go to my next of kin, or it's supposed to go to my children. Oh, well, they got to pay a fee. Excuse you? So you're telling me that if you leave something behind for a child, that child has to pay you to get it? Well, what's the point of a will then? What's the point of anything then? If you understand what I'm getting at? Like, people, you gotta wake up. You gotta see what's going on and how it's going on. I'm sorry to tell you this, but we're all slaves in this. Every single one of us. It don't matter who you are. Okay? You all are. And we gotta break this chain. We the people, it's in our Constitution. Please, everybody, get in there. Read the Constitution. I mean all of it. And it's, I know it's tedious because, you know, so much. But you need to. And we all need to storm up there. Get these people, these tyrants, these real tyrants. Okay? These are the people that are tyrants and you know, breaking the laws and, you know, trying to justify. Everything is right there. Okay? I have the right to bear arms. I have the right to this. You know, your constitutional rights gives you everything you have the right. And they try to make these little laws. But back in the Western's time, they would release you and give you what back? Your pew-pew. They would give you $1. They'd give you a horse for transportation. But did you realize, everybody, that they didn't take that away? So if you really look hard, it still says in those laws that they're supposed to give you everything. You got to really pay attention. They're working on they're going through loopholes because we are so brainwashed and just listen to them. Okay? But really, this is what's going on. It should be going on, I mean. But none of y'all are getting on it. I am. I'm not falling for it. I'm not falling for it. That's the thing. But yet they're bringing people over here, and don't get it wrong. I care about everybody. But why are they getting free when we were born here, raised here, and we are getting jerked around? Come on. People, wake up. Wake up. It's time to wake up and realize everything, okay? But yeah, I'm going to end this one right now. Eventually, I'm going to stream because I really want to communicate with you people. I really want to be able to, you know, reach you all and just tell you and answer your comments and questions and that. Because I'm here. Write me. Right on here. Come on. You can still comment on here and I will answer you. Listen, all you followers and subscribers and more, I will answer every question and I will answer to a T. Because this isn't no joke. This isn't no play. I've seen you all play. I've seen you all on here looking at this and be like, oh, you know, and or you might be like, damn, I wish I could talk to him, and you know, I have some questions because I would really like this, that, and that to know about. Comment for now. Comment, and I'll read them. I'll read every single comment. I will get back to you. This is it. I want to help every single one of you succeed, because if we can go after all this, and guess what? No more taxes on your tax. No more taxes for this and that. You will succeed in life just like the rich. Because they know. They're not doing it. They're not charging them. They lie and say they are. They're not. Sorry, my friend. They're not. And guess what? Guess who told it and said straight out? Trump. Trump himself. But yet he ain't helping us out. Why isn't he helping us out? Do the same thing. They don't want you to succeed. Come on. Come on, man. Come on. Am I right? Am I right? Yeah, of course I'm right. Come on, man. And Trump, I really want somebody to get this. I really want to get this out there, Trump. Oh, no. Trump, you're a joke. I'm sorry, Trump. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion, and I'm free to speak it. But yeah. That's true. But hey, I enjoyed everybody. Come and reach out to me. I'll explain everything. I'll even explain about Trump. I mean, come on. Pure facts. If you're not seeing it, then you need to wake your eyes up and see it. Okay? Have a great night. And I'm going to be posting tons more videos. Tons more, everybody. Way more than I normally do. I want to get the message about everything out there. I'm sorry I've been jumping around, but I'm kind of like, with this whole situation with Matt Brown, it just has me out peace. But let's get out there. Let's speak about this. Let's get on this stuff. And let's go after these people and get them out of office and put real people in that care. Have a good night.